Welcome, welcome. It is time for our monthly shop talk, and I am freaking excited. I'll just kind of give it a second while folks come online. I like to just kind of meander a bit here while everyone gets settled, and then I'll go in and edit this part off of the YouTube video. It makes it so that people that are watching the replay don't have to listen to us like get all weird while we're getting set up. Anyways, welcome. Hello, friends. Can I tell you? Last night, before going to the gym, I took a little bit of my pre workout to give me some more energy, and I didn't think it would affect me that much. And I was awake until 3:30 in the morning. Anyone else like super sensitive to anything caffeinated? 3:30, and I thought, okay, I'm gonna set my alarm at least till 8 o'clock and sleep in. Nope, this brain 6:25. I slept for 3 hours. What? What is life? Oh my gosh, anyone else do that? I'm like, let me just try. Let me just see what happens. My day today is not that serious. If I'm a little tired, it's okay. But did I go get an iced coffee before coming here? Yes, yes, I did. Will I learn? Probably not. Mm. All right, friends, tell me who's here. Say hello. How are you doing? It's our last shop talk of the year. Oh my goodness. Can you all believe that 2025 is like basically done? Like it's wild. I mean, to be fair, I've been living in 2020 since 2026 since September. Mentally, I keep forgetting it's still 2025. But holy smokes, here we are at the end of the year. And I am excited to talk about what we're going to talk about today because I wanted to talk about this idea of busy work versus hard work versus productive work, right? Hey guys, welcome, welcome, welcome. So, yeah, I wanted to talk about what that means because, you know, when we start out to start a business, right? Tell me if you can relate to this. We start out to start our business and we think of ourselves as the practitioner, right? It's the person who delivers the goods or the services. And we think that's what building a business is, but it's actually not, right? Whatever it is that you sell, your services, if you're a coach, if you're a trainer, if you're a, I don't know, an interior designer, if you're a dog walker, whatever the thing is that you do isn't the business. It's the product. It's what the business sells. So as a business owner, there are things that you have to be doing to build out the business. And so that's what I thought that we could talk about today. Hey, welcome. So I've got a few notes prepared, and I thought I would start us off with a few questions. So let's kind of get warmed up into what we're going to be talking about. So busy isn't productive is the theme of today, and we're going to be talking about this mindset around busy work, hard work, productive work, and talk about what profitable entrepreneurs actually do. All right. So let's kind of get going here. Let's ease on in with some questions. Question one, tell me in the comments, when you imagine working hard, what comes to mind? And does that image feel exciting, exhausting, intimidating? Tell me, what comes to mind when you think of hard work or working hard? Hey, Kate, welcome. So, what comes to mind when you imagine working hard? Tell me, tell me. I just realized with this bit of a delay, I should probably fill the dead air. Oh my gosh, yes. Busy isn't productive. That is the theme today. Busy isn't productive. And how do we be productive without being busy? Well, we're going to be busy, but like busyness that matters, you know? Oh, lots of brain energy. Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Kaylin, it feels empowering and a bit exhausting. Yeah. Next question to think about here. Which type of hard work do you avoid most? Is it the emotional hard work? So things like visibility, selling, that like fear of rejection, all that emotional internal stuff, maybe the imposter syndrome, right? Do you avoid the mental hard work, right? So that's the creating, that's the writing. Do you rely too much on ChatGPT and you're not doing your own thinking and creating, right? Do you get ChatGPT to do work for you? Or I don't know, like, trying to think of like what else in turn. The whole conversation these days, you guys, is like around AI. I was on this thing yesterday that I found incredibly frustrating because the person hosting it kept telling everyone to go use ChatGPT for all of their thinking. And it was incredibly frustrating because you need to do the creative thinking, the critical thinking, the strategizing. ChatGPT isn't a business strategist or a business owner. It's a text predictive language learning model, right? And so like where are you avoiding the mental hard work, right? Or there's the physical hard work, right? That's the building of the business while juggling life and responsibilities. It is doing the networking, it is sending the emails, it is, you know, creating, I don't know, a blog. It's coming here, right? The physical stuff that can wear us down. What type do you avoid? All right, we've got the Cape Rider. Hey, what's up, William? Back, had to grab a snack. Did I miss much? No, we're just getting into it. We're just getting into it. I also just saw that you just joined the Ick-Free Sales Community officially. Yes. So, Kate, haha, it's both exciting. I like working. I love feeling like I've accomplished things, and it's intimidating to do the things I need to do most. Tell us, Kate, why is that? Why is it intimidating for you to do the things you need to do most? Side note, I think most people would probably agree with that. Emotional for sure. The selling and the connecting is what you avoid. Here's what I relate to. 100%. I avoid the boring tasks. I love creating. I hate admin. My emails are a disaster. I really need to get myself an assistant again in 2026 who handle all my emails. My emails are a disaster. And my admin is the worst because I hate that stuff. It's so boring. That's why I love co-working days and like body doubling. That's when I do all my boring work when I'm with other people. Emotionally hard. I get avoidant and it stifles the mental hard. Yes. Okay. Interesting. So you get avoidant and it stifles the mental hard. Yeah. All right, William. Emotional hard work. Feelings. Ew. I mean, really. Feelings. Yes, agree on the boring tasks, right? I feel like because a lot of the folks in our community are neurodiverse in some way, I feel like all of us can relate to the boring tasks. Oh, Becky, I avoid the boring stuff too, but what I find boring isn't the same day to day. Really, right? I totally get that. I think for a lot of folks, the boring can be in the consistency more so than the task. Can you relate to that? I have said this many times over the years, which is building a business is really boring, actually. It's just repeating the same stuff over and over and over and over, right? So, like the work that we get to do and deliver, that's the fun stuff, right? That's like the reward for doing all the boring work, which is the building the business part. And that's okay. That's okay. Oh my gosh, I can hear the tiredness in my voice. Okay, question number 3. Where in your business do you feel busy, but you're not actually making progress? So, where do you feel busy, but you're not actually making progress? That's a question that I've been asking myself since, oh boy, when the pandemic started. I got very busy very fast. I was everywhere in all the organizations, all the businesses doing all the things, right? And that level of busy created, I should say level of busy, that level of demand resulted in me creating all these things to serve that demand, which ended up pulling me in so many different directions and spread me so thin. And that's why I hit that burnout in 2023. And it's taken me a couple of years to really kind of get that back because I was exhausted. I was spread so thin. right? Serving so many different people and organizations. And so that's really where I've been thinking a lot the past, I'll say, well, pretty much since my surgery. So what, 6, 7 months? Really since my surgery. So 7 months now, thinking about where am I busy, but I'm not necessarily moving my business forward, right? Because remember that you can be busy and you could be selling and you could be selling a lot and making some great money, but that still doesn't mean your business is moving forward. Whatever that big vision is, that you can't get to because you're so busy, right? Let's get into these comments. Yeah, consistency is, I think you said, I already shared that, right? And yeah, the consistency is boring. Yeah. I love making videos, hate posting them. Interesting. Is that the emotional work? The posting? Is that where you like, what if people don't get it? What if they don't like it? What if they think I'm don't know what I'm talking about? Is that the emotional work or is that the physical work? I don't like the physical act of writing descriptions, uploading it, posting it. William, tinkering with my maps on Incarnate. Do you know what I was just telling you? I was just telling somebody about you. It was someone that I met at this, it was a queer holiday market that I was at this week, and they make really cool like D&D stuff, and they partner and collaborate with other creators and like artists and game people, whatever. And I was like, okay, I feel like there could be some fun connection between the two of you potentially. So I'm going to send them your website. I was also telling another client about your writing, and they need to connect with you for the writing. Anyways, I've been talking about you, William. I've been out here talking about you. All right, Kaylin. Feel busy with admin and setup at the expense of the visibility and marketing pieces. Yes. Yes. This is why you'll hear me say a lot that, oh, actually, we talked about this yesterday, right, Caitlin? Is that, we think about building a business and business development, there's so many pieces. And the most important piece is often the most overlooked piece, and that is the selling, the sales. And that's what we have to prioritize if we need to make money, right? And so we have to look at that admin, at that setup, and we have to go, okay, what is we call the MVP, right? The minimum viable product. Well, we can call it the MVA, the minimum viable admin, the MVSU, the minimum viable setup, right? What is the smallest that I can do to just get going if I even have to do it? Because a lot of times you don't even really have to do it. Like there's a lot of things that just don't really, you can get by without doing it. It's a nice to have, not need to have. I don't know what works yet. Not sure what progress looks like. Not sure what progress looks like. So that begins with setting a goal and thinking about what the most important goal to you right now is. So again, for a lot of entrepreneurs, it's revenue generation. It's money. You have to bring money into the business, right? The business needs to be able to support itself and then hopefully pay you as well. So if the goal is to bring in money, then you would set some goals in terms of, sure, you can set sales goals. That's important. But what's really more important is going, I have to set goals to do like a certain amount of networking, a certain amount of calls, a certain amount of outreach, right? A certain amount of visibility opportunities. We call those process goals. So your sales goals are your outcome goals, right? That's the outcome of the work that you do, right? But the process goals, that's the work. So if you think about progress, we go, okay, so what is the goal? And for you, progress is going to look like figuring out the ins and outs of what works to get you to that goal. So we have to start with setting some of those action-based process goals, right? For you to start taking action on, right? A lot of people who've never ever built a business before truly don't know what they're doing. That's normal. How would you know what you're doing? Right? It's like I say this all the time. You don't wake up one day and say, I want to be a surgeon, and someone hands you a scalpel. It's years and years of education, starting from here and working your way up, right? And so with business, we have to take that same approach. You don't just go, I'm a business owner and magically know what to do, right? You got to figure that stuff out. And the only way to figure that out is to get into action. You have to learn skills, and then you have to implement those things that you're learning and then figure out what works for you. So progress is probably for you going to be learning the skills and then implementing the skills and figuring out which things work for you. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, closing deals. I did a ton of networking and relationship building this year. sent out more proposals, and met more potential clients than ever before. For various reasons, only 2 of them closed. Interesting, Becky. So, and congratulations, by the way, on launching your website. It's fantastic. So, that could be a situation of it's the wrong people, right? That you're talking to the wrong folks. So, that could be either they're not ready yet, they don't want what you're selling. They just don't want it. It's the wrong customer, right? They don't have the budget, which again is the wrong customer. They're not ready. That's not necessarily the wrong customer, but it's a longer like process, right? So we always when we're doing a lot of activities and we're not making sales, the 5 areas that we have to look at is am I selling the right thing? Is this the thing that people want, right? There's a difference between people liking what you do, even wanting what you do, and then paying for what you do, right? So you have to look at what it is that you're selling, your offers. Are they aligned? Then you got to look at your ideal customer, right? Is that aligned? Do they want those offers? Am I talking to the right people? Then we got to look at things like price point. Am I charging the right price? Right? Sorry guys, is this what they're expecting to pay? Right? Too high, too low, just right? Then we look at the marketing and the messaging. Am I positioning in this right? Am I talking about this in the right way, in the way that's relatable and clear? And then what's my sales process? Am I making it hard to buy, confusing to buy, easy to buy? So those are the 5 areas we want to think about if we're doing a lot of work and nothing's happening. Something is wrong in those 5 areas. The posting is boring. Yeah. So when you get to something boring, you got to really think about, okay, how can I make this fun, right? For me, that usually involves some sort of iced beverage, maybe a nice coffee, maybe a bubble tea, usually something with sugar. And it's like I have a nice little sweet treat. And I usually will body double with people, even if I just call them and be like, hey, what are you doing? Do you want to do some body doubling? Throw on some music. If it's something that's not too like brain consuming, I might throw on a YouTube video. I have to find a way to make it stimulating and fun for me. I can't just say this is boring and not do it because I'm a business owner. I have to do the things even when they're boring, right? Oh my goodness. Oh, you're so welcome. All right, need to finish my book, but first define what finish looks like. Love it. Wonderful. Set yourself that goal, that clear goal. Budget is my biggest hurdle. I think because I work with startups and there's very little funding or grants specific to the work I do, and the work I do isn't optional for them, it's legally required. So it's legally required. They have to do it, but they don't have the budget to do it. Interesting. So I'm thinking you're probably going to need to go and talk to startups who are further along in the process, who have the budget, right? Yeesh. Yeesh. Okay, another question here for you. How do you define productivity? How do you define productivity? We're talking about this a lot this week for some reason, probably because I knew the shop talk was coming and it's just kind of, when you start thinking about things and all of a sudden you notice other people are talking about things, right? So we're having a lot of conversations around productivity this week and really challenging folks to define what that means because I think that we view productivity as like sort of through a capitalism lens, and I think it's like the everything I do has to be making money or serving a purpose, and there's such a thing as like productive downtime, productive rest, if we want to, you know what I mean? Productive work, right? So what does productive mean to you? How do you define productivity? Kaylin, effective, efficient action with consistency. Yeah. So then the thing is that you guys, this is where I'm gonna poke at you. What does effective mean? What does efficient mean? What does consistent mean? Right? Those are just words. You gave me more words. But what is that? How do you define effective? How do you know what you're doing is effective? How do you know if it's efficient? Right? And what does it look like to be consistent? Making notable steps in a project, measurable. Yes, because that's going to be my next question, which is what does notable mean, right? Yeah, it's measurable. Kate, productivity, a feeling of accomplishment, being able to check things off. Yes. Yeah, I like the idea of productive rest. Yeah, productive rest. Productivity in the gym. My gym buddies, I'm sure I'm sure I drive them a little batty because I've got some serious powerlifting goals this year, or for 2026. Some pretty big goals, which means I got to get my lifts in. They got to be heavy. And to get in a heavy lift, you have to do a few more warm-up sets to get up to that heavy lift. And so when my gym partners are talking away, hey, are you lifting or can I go? I'm gonna make a reputation for myself where people are like, oh no, I don't want to work out with Lindsay, or the people who want to get their lifts into. I'm very productive in the gym. Productive downtime. If it produces the results that you're seeking. Yeah, love that. So as we go into this conversation here of like busy does not mean productive, right? Hard work doesn't even mean productive. But busy and hard work also aren't the same thing, right? These are really all unique things. Being busy, working hard, and being productive. They all kind of have their own definitions, right? And it's up to us to define what that looks like for us. So I want to talk about some of the myths behind this idea of hard work versus productive work versus busy work, right? So the first one, if I'm tired, I'm doing something wrong. If I'm tired, I'm doing something wrong. There can be oh, I don't know what the word is. What is the word, guys? What's the feeling? Not hesitation, but like maybe trepidation. There can be a little anxiety around being tired in our businesses. I think a lot of us are used to the feeling of being burnt out or exhausted. I think a lot of us, if you've been at business for a while and you're not really seeing much success, you're probably used to the feeling of working hard and not getting results, right? And I think too that there is a narrative out there that you don't have to work hard to build a business. That is a narrative that people use to sell you their programs and sell you their things. And it's simply not true. Building a business is incredibly hard, emotionally, physically. What was the other one? Mentally. It is very hard, right? And, again, if we look at how we define hard work, right? That emotional work that no one else can see, but that we have to process, that's hard. That's scary. We have to overcome fears and doubt, right? And imposter syndrome, disappointment, right? Or the physical work, the doing of the thing is hard. The mentally thinking critically, thinking creatively, right? Writing, creating things, that stuff's all hard, right? So I think, again, when someone says you don't have to work hard to build a business, well, again, you guys, always let's define hard. What does hard mean? What are all the ways that hard work shows up? And so this idea of if I'm tired, I'm doing something wrong, that's not necessarily true. If you're tired, but the productivity isn't there, you're not seeing the results, you're not moving towards your goals. Then, like I was saying earlier I forget who that was it to Becky? I forget who that was, but we got to look at those 5 areas. Okay, something isn't working. What is it? Is it the wrong offer, the wrong price, the wrong customer, the wrong marketing and messaging, or the wrong sales process? Something is wrong there. Let me figure it out, right? I'm doing something ineffective, inefficient, right? But if you're moving the needle and you're tired, fantastic, because it's hard work building a business. And I don't think we should shy away from that. I forget who said it, but like hitting like that feel that was Kate, right? That feeling of having accomplished something, of having moved your business forward. I love flopping into bed at the end of a hard day, or I've had amazing client sessions and amazing networking meetings. And I maybe did a workshop and then I went to the gym and maybe I cleaned up the house and I cooked my meals and I just put in a good day. I got everything I could out of that day. I'm feeling good and I have a good sleep. And I wake up the next day and I work hard again. And then maybe wake up the next day and I don't work hard. I chill. I have that productive rest. I chill out, right? I think we need to not shy away from hard work. I think we need to appreciate and respect that we have the capacity to work hard. And I want to, again, just remind y'all that your hard work is your hard work. Everyone's hard work is different. Everyone's capacity is different, right? So yours and mine, like our days are going to look very different. But it's about you not feeling this sense of failure or something is wrong if you're working hard. if you're feeling tired. I'm just going through here. Produces the results you're seeking. What do we have here? I'm new, so I don't know what is working yet for productivity. I need to figure out what are the IPAs of actions I take. There's also the actual working with the clients. Exactly. So when you are a service provider, you are generally both practitioner or technician, you are doing the work, and you're the business owner, right? We talk about the being the self-employed. You are both the boss and the employee, right? When you're a solopreneur, you're wearing all the hats, right? And this is why you need to really consider in your business, is me doing all the work the end goal? Or do I want to move out of that sort of self-employed solopreneur space ultimately into business owner where I am steering the ship, I have the vision, I'm executing on the vision, but I have support with the rest of the work, right? And so if we know that's where we want to go, then we have to figure out these pieces of our business foundations, the marketing, the sales, the offers, the pricing. We got to get that nailed down, that sales process figured out so that we can have enough money to generate, right? Or have enough money to reinvest in hiring people and starting to scale up, right? So that you're not wearing all the hats. But that's a 5 to 10 year journey. Like that doesn't happen overnight, right? So those first couple of years, they're messy because you have to figure out what works and what doesn't. And this is why we have to be so hyper tuned into what is not moving the needle that I need to stop doing and who has the information, who can show me how to actually get sales, how to actually grow a brand, right? How to actually build a business. That's your thing too, is a lot of folks, because you're entrepreneurs and you're used to being very industrious, figuring things out, getting it done. But if you don't know what to do, you're not going to wake up one day and magically know what to do. The best investment early on in your business is not branding. It's not, you know, creating a Substack or getting into YouTube or whatever. The best investment early on in your business is hiring the person who can tell you what you need to do to grow a business. Because once you're cash flow positive, once you're making money, right, consistently and easily, now we can invest in those other nice to haves, not need to haves, right? So, oh, activity that makes money and produces personal fulfillment. Yes, I love that definition of productivity. Suffering with the lack of dopamine in my business. No clients yet, but working my ass off. Lack of reward. Yeah. Yeah. So relatable. And I want to remind y'all too. Yeah, I know that if you've been around me for a while, you've heard me say this. Please stop going to your business for dopamine. Building a business is incredibly boring. It just is. If you need to hit a dopamine, get a hobby. I have so many hobbies, right? Get a hobby, right? That doesn't mean your business should suck. Business should be enjoyable and should be fun. But don't go to your business as a thing that's supposed to give you dopamine, right? Your business needs you to show up for it before it can start showing up for you, right? And that's what leads to us tinkering in our business and constantly going to our business and like chasing the next shiny object, right? The latest trend, the latest guru, the latest whatever, like changing the branding or whatever. We just keep tinkering with the business in ways that hold us back because we're looking to our business to give us dopamine, right? We got to go to our hobbies and do things for fun. Great advice. Okay, good. I'm glad that landed. I know, Kate. Kate, I know you. Kate, I know you've heard me say that. I've said this many times. So you're new around here. But Kate will know this. Like I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Right? Don't go to your business for dopamine. Get a hobby. Building a business is kind of boring, and we have to be okay with that. All right. Myth number 2: hard work should always feel like a big deal or outside my comfort zone. Right? Hard work means like making 80 calls a day. I don't know. You can't do that's not possible. It's doing a bunch of cold outreach to 30 people. It's getting on the biggest stages I can. We associate this like big major thing with hard work, right? This like heroic Herculean efforts. Anyone relate to that? But the reality is that the hard work can be small, right? The hard work can be small. It's more about the consistency. So the hard work can look like Again, sending out, 3 emails to somebody new on LinkedIn that you would like to connect with and network with. It could be pitching yourself to be on 5 podcasts this week or next week. It can be showing up to do the podcast and then promoting it on social media and in your email list, right? It can be going to a networking event and connecting with folks that really draw your attention, having fun conversations, and then sending up those follow-up emails, having those sales conversations or networking conversations. It's not these big giant things, and it doesn't always have to be outside your comfort zone, right? But it's more so about those small, boring, man, I'm sensing a theme today. The small, boring things that we do consistently, right? That's just the hard work, right? And again, back to the 3 types of hard work, right? Emotional, mental, physical. The we talk about the comfort zone, right? When we think of that emotional hard work, you don't always have to operate so far outside your comfort zone. You've probably heard me say this before if you've been here for a while. It's okay to work within your comfort zone. Friends, entrepreneurship is going to push your imposter syndrome, insecurity, self-worth, comfort zone buttons like 24/7, okay? It's okay to work in your comfort zone because that's where you'll get work done. All right? And then let's dip a toe out. Every once in a while, let's challenge ourselves to think a little bigger, to work on that self-confidence, to use our voice. I have a great YouTube live that we did on finding your voice and using your voice and how entrepreneurship really helps that, right? That was the one that we did where I thought we were live because it showed me being live, but we weren't actually live, and all of y'all were wondering where I was. Anyways, so that's on my channel, right? So the idea of that comfort zone and the emotional, it's okay to work within there, but yes, let yourself stretch on the mental, right? On the mental, I have a great course on this. It's called Super Simple Copywriting, which if you want to let me know and I'll pull it up. But the super simple copywriting is an example of how I make copywriting simple. No, you don't have to go to ChatGPT. You should learn how to write good copy from your own heart, from your own brain and expertise, right? So it's like it doesn't have to be I'm going to revamp an entire website. I'm going to write a book. It can be like how am I going to just hit pause for a second and write an email that sounds like me and feels like me, right? Let's go to some comments. What do we got here, Kate? Don't go to your biz for dopamine. Huge change of thinking in 2026. Okay, friends, I'm gonna add that to my YouTube. You guys, if you want to know what I'm focused on in 2026, YouTube. I have a million video ideas, and I need to just start making them. Oh my gosh. Okay, don't go to your biz for dopamine. Friends, if there's anything that you ever hear me say, when we're talking one-on-one in a group setting, anything you hear me read and you're like, "Oh my God, Lindsay, make a YouTube video on this," just let me know. Just send me an email. Send me a DM. Becky, sometimes the hardest work is making a phone call or responding to an email I've been putting off for months. 1,000,000%. Right? That's that mental hard work, right? The executive function, the spoons, right? So how do we hack that? How do we give ourselves more spoons? Right? How do we hack our executive function to get more of it? Right? The other day, it was yesterday. I was tired. You guys, it's the end of the year. I'm tired. Okay, I'm tired. And yesterday I was tired and I had gym in the evening. I had powerlifting in the evening and I was like, oh, do I want to go? I'm so tired. And it wasn't the physical part, it was the mental. I don't know that I have the mental capacity to like talk and listen and be present. And then I was so hungry yesterday and I was like, okay, I can make lunch, which is going to take spoons. It's going to take executive function, which is going to draw from my executive function bank for the day, which will make it so I don't want to go to powerlifting. Or I can just walk to the grocery store that's 2 blocks that way and buy a sandwich. And that's what I did. I bought a sandwich, right? Yeah, sure. I have ingredients to make a sandwich, but the little walk was lovely. Having a lovely sandwich for me made was lovely. And then it saved the spoon, the executive function, so that I could have a good time at powerlifting. So again, the mental work is work, right? How are you setting yourself up for success? How are you managing your executive function, your spoons, right? Yeah, imposter syndrome, right? Imposter syndrome, it is literally everyone experiences it. And well, probably not, maybe not like psychopaths or sociopaths. But anyways, most people experience it, right? And the more that you succeed, the more that you put yourself out there, the bigger the swings are that you take, the more it's going to hit. So imposter syndrome is not avoidable, right? But it can be managed. If you haven't already, I've got two videos on my YouTube channel. One is, I think it's like 4 steps for ditching self-doubt. Another one is called Imposter Syndrome is a Liar. Go watch those. And I give you some really like tangible steps you can do to rewire that or to shift out of that mode because it's going to happen, right? But I'm such a stubborn cowboy. I don't like when I can't do things. And so if imposter syndrome is telling me I can't do it, I'm going to tell that mofo to get a life. Can you actually get more spoons? Well, you know what? It depends on the person, Becky. It depends on the person. I and again, I mean, I don't want to get into semantics. Is it get more spoons or is it save my spoons? I am a person who I will think I'm out of spoons. If I just take a breath, I like to visualize myself doing the things that helps me to visualize myself doing the thing. And I don't know where, but I dig down and I pull out more spoons. Now, is that pulling spoons from tomorrow? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Because I also sleep really well. So I get a good night's sleep and I get up in the morning and my spoons are recharged. So again, I think that's a very personal question. But I'm a person who can take a breath, maybe go for a quick walk, get some fresh air, clear my mind, visualize what I need to do, and I can dig down and find more spoons if I need to. Right? So I think that's a question that we have to answer for ourselves. I'm going to say that. Hopefully that made sense. Okay. All the time, and I'm IMPS coach. First of all, hello, Brittany. Hi, what's up? Big hugs. IMP imposter. No, I know that you're an imposter syndrome coach, but what is IMPS? What does IMPS stand for? Anyways, Brittany, everyone has a Brittany has a creative. Sorry, virtual services business. So she provides virtual services to entrepreneurs and businesses, and herself is also an imposter syndrome coach, among many other amazing things. Empty some spoons. Yeah, well, that's the other thing is the emptying some spoons. I'll be like, you know what, that spoon's gone. I'm going to use that for over here, right? So my strategic spoon usage. Brittany, oh, it's so good to see you. You guys, my throat today. What is this? But what does IMPS mean? Oh wait, is that just shorthand for imposter? Is that just shorthand for imposter? And I'm just really slow. Okay, myth number 3. If something feels emotionally hard, it means I'm not built for entrepreneurship. If something feels emotionally hard, it means I'm not built for entrepreneurship. But what does that mean? What does that mean to you? Do you ever feel like oh my gosh, you put yourself out there for something. You don't get it. You feel disappointed. And you think, I'm not cut out for this. I can't do this. This is a sign, right? Kaylin, we were talking yesterday, right? About doing a like a show, like a trade, like a fair, like a trade show. What are they called? Market, right? And I do all these things to get ready. I put myself out there. I'm there with the booth and nobody buys anything, right? And you maybe feel that disappointment. You feel maybe embarrassed, right? You feel rejected maybe. And you think, oh man, can I do this? Am I cut out for this? Maybe I shouldn't do this, right? You have a sales conversation and somebody says, no, thank you. You pitch yourself for a podcast and somebody says no thank you. You apply for a grant and you don't get it, right? And you think, "Oh," right? Or maybe there's something that is going on with self-esteem, self-worth, self-confidence. We talk about this fake it till you make it, which sometimes is really helpful, sometimes is not. I think the fake it till you make it can be challenging when it comes to like a skill that we know we're faking. But I think sometimes when it comes to like confidence, maybe you want to project that sense of confidence and self-assuredness because we can internalize that feeling of confidence, right? But we have all these emotions that come up, and sometimes they're those kind of more negative emotions, which again, do they have to be negative? It's just an emotion. Why do we have to attach any kind of moral judgment to it, right? But we feel these big feelings, especially if you're neurodiverse, but I think everyone does, these big feelings. And we think it's a sign that we're not meant to be entrepreneurs, right? What are your thoughts? Yeah, the imposter syndrome coach. Thank you. I was overcomplicating it. What else is new? Right? The shame. Yeah, the shame is a big one, right? William, I always ignore it. I always ignore it. What are some other emotions? What are some other emotions that have come up? You don't have to tell us actual scenarios, right? But what are some emotions that come up that leave you feeling like shaky, What are some things that come up? The other day, I applied for a bundle. I was like, "Oh, this is cool. I really want to be in this bundle." And I listen, friends, I'm big picture. Details are not always my strong suit. And I did miss this thing that said it couldn't have been given another bundle in the past year, and it was. And I didn't see that until like way after it was submitted and the deadline was closed. Because I could have given something else first. So, anyways, I didn't qualify. I was like, dang it, I could have done something else, right? And then, give me a week later and somebody really awesome that I super duper respect reached out to me to say, "Hey, will you be part of this bundle in the new year?" Yes, I will. 1,000,000%, right? So you have that like disappointment and then that like honor, right? Applied for a grant, didn't get it, was disappointed, was already spending the money in my head. you know? But then you have a bunch of cool new clients come on board and you're like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna have so much fun." Right? The emotional roller coaster of building a business is real, right? So we have to watch when we get super duper attached to our emotions and we make them mean something instead of just feeling it, naming it, accepting it. Caitlin and I were talking yesterday about surrendering to it, right? Yeah, fear is a big one. Fear is a big one. All right, let's get into myth number 4. I need more time before I can work harder on my business. I need more time before I can work. If I just had 6 months away in a cabin in the woods, I could create all these things and do all these things. If I just quit my job and I can do my business full time, it'll be amazing, right? If I just, I don't know, ship the kids off to the grandparents. I don't know. What do people do with kids, Brittany? Especially at your age where they're always sick. Is Nadine here today? Nadine's going through that, right? So like if I just had more time, I could really focus on I could really commit to my business, right? But the reality is that your business is not built in a bubble. Your life is always going to be happening with your business. It's you, it's your life, it's your business, it's all together, right? And so what we have to do is we have to get good at using our time wisely, effectively, efficiently, productively. If we only have a certain amount of hours in a day or in a week, we have to prioritize what moves the needle, right? And if you don't know what moves the needle, again, you need to find out. You need to get someone to help you make that strategy, make that plan. And then you got to get to work on the things that move the needle. And the things that don't, you have to be quicker to say no. That's just the busy work. And I don't need to be busy. I need to be moving the needle. I need to be productive. Back to the emotional question, intimidation, feeling intimidated by others in my field that are so much further along. Yeah, that's a very real feeling. A very real feeling. One of the ways that you can combat that is you can, first of all, I think the biggest thing across the board for everybody is not comparing where you're at now to where you're going to be and to where other people are, where you will eventually get to, right? Again, not to be a dork, but in powerlifting is a sport of patience and persistence and time. Those first, 3 to 6 months, you put on a lot of strength quick and then it tapers off. And then when I look at the people who compete, I'm like 4 years away from hitting those numbers. This is a sport of patience and persistence and consistent hard work, right? Entrepreneurship is no different. Yes, I'm going to make a YouTube video on the comparison. Anyways, because I'm a dork, but it's the same. So when you look at people who are where they are now, instead of thinking I'll never get there, go, oh, look where I am gonna get to go one day. Look where I'm building to, right? So that's the first thing. And then, hang on, what was this other thing? Hang on. Remembering that like there are more and more people every day who are aging into or becoming aware of or transitioning into your customer, right? All day, every day. And so I like to say there's always more need than people serving that need, right? So there's room for all of us. And there's people every day who are going, where's Alex, right? Where's this person? I need this person, right? So that feeling of intimidation, right? Or maybe we're comparing, maybe we're not feeling as good as, maybe we think we're never going to get there. Those are all normal human feelings. You're allowed to feel them, like feel them, name them, right? But then we don't get stuck there because it's just a feeling. What do they say? A feeling takes 90 seconds before it goes away. So if we push that feeling down, it's never going to be dealt with. But if we let it come up, it's going to take 90 seconds, feel it, name it, and then it's going to dissipate. Then we get back to work. So much fear, boatloads. Why would anyone want to read my book? Low self acceptance combined with imposter syndrome. Yeeks. Yeah, that's a big one. That's a big one. What's this one? Slowly coming out from under myth for myself, turning 40 helped with that. Yeah. Getting older really helps with that, doesn't it? Right? Yeah. Already quit the job. Okay, I have a great video on my YouTube videos called When to Quit Your Job. Most since this has been a trend I've seen since the pandemic. I don't know if it's pandemic related or just where we're at culturally and socially. Or if someone's out there telling y'all to quit your jobs, your business, unless your business can pay for itself and pay your salary, you're not ready to quit your job because your business needs you to put money into it, right? Your business needs you to pay for it until it can pay for you, right? So go and watch that video. Yeah, it's just when to quit your job. Go watch that video. It's up at the sort of the top of my recent videos. And then maybe go get a job, go back to work, or do something else, freelance, be an assistant. I don't know. Find something to do to help pay your bills and also invest in your business because running a business takes money. It takes money, right? And then living on this planet takes money. I wish it didn't, but it does. But we can't build our business if we don't have money because we can't pay our rent, we can't feed ourselves. It's way too stressful. And most people are a few years out from starting a business to being able to have the business fully provide for them and itself, right? I've lived this myth. I had unlimited time while unemployed, but time is the only one of the resources you need to get things done. Yeah. There's a lot of people that will quit and have so much time, but they don't know what to do with that time because they don't know how to build a business. And so then they get caught up in all this busy work that doesn't move things forward. Remember, friends, I've been at this over 20 years. And plus I grew up in entrepreneurship. So 45, 46 years, like, you know what I mean? Like I've seen it and I've seen it and I've seen it and I've seen it time and time again. Yeah. And then I signed up for all the things too. Brittany. Brittany. Something I always tell myself, how much time do you think you have? Yeah. Do you use that as a way to prioritize your time during the week, or do you use that as a death's door is coming for you? How much time do you think you have? That's definitely where I'm at these days. I'm like, literally before coming here, I'm like, what are you doing? You're 46 next month. What are you doing with your life? Oh, 90 seconds. Yeah, I believe it's what it is. I believe it's 90 seconds. Yeah. Yeah. So interesting. I think it's society and the job market. Also the really understand the difference between freelance and business entrepreneurship. Yeah. 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 We talked about that. There's a great live on there, which is self-employment versus business owner. Yeah. Because self-employment is usually the first step for a lot of for a lot of service providers. That is the self-employment, right? I'm the one doing everything. I have a job that I'm just the boss of my job. And before you become a boss of others, right? All right, let's go into our last myth. Myth number 5. If I just stay busy, results will come. Oh, this is a big one. I remember having this call with somebody. This was ages ago, probably 7, 8 years ago, talking with someone, and she she was so frustrated because she had been in business for 5 years and was not succeeding. Didn't know how to do sales, wasn't getting sales. She was relatively invisible as a brand. She really hadn't done much. And she had this chip on her shoulder, this real resentment. But I've been doing this for 5 years. I should be further along. It's like, yeah, time spent on something doesn't matter if you're not doing the right thing. If the time spent is not effective, is not productive, is not moving the needle, right? And so we think if I just work harder, if I just double down and post on social media 3 times a day and, go to all these networking events, which is it can be good, but not if they're not the right networking events, right? Or I'm not saying the right thing or talking to my people, or I have no follow-up process or no sales process, right? Like I'm just going to keep doing things. I'm just going to stay really busy. It's going to keep working and working and working and surely something will happen. Surely. No. No, we have to step back. We have to think strategically. Who is my customer? How do I get in front of them? What are we talking about? What's that sales process look like? Right? Or what are the communities and audiences I want to be in front of? Or who are the referral partners or the collaborators, right? That I'm connecting with? How am I getting visible? We have to think strategically, do strategic action, right? Working harder and working more isn't what's going to make you successful. Doing the right things is what's going to make you successful, right? That productivity. What do we got for thoughts there? Anyone fall into that trap? Let me just work more. Let me just work harder. I always hear this phrase, let me just make time. I'll just make time. I'll just make time. No, you won't. Time is finite. You can't make it. This isn't like, I don't know, who makes time? Doctor Who? He doesn't make time, but he can manipulate it, right? Or they, she, depending on who's the doctor. Oh my God, I'm such a nerd, right? So we can't make time. Working and working and working our butts off isn't going to make us successful. We have to think about what moves the needle. We have to think about what works. And that's going to be different for every business. Different, but not. There's a handful of activities you're going to do, but that's going to at the sort of what I want to say, the minuscule level. What am I trying to say? The little level, the littler level. That's going to be different between each business owner. This is where you can see I had 3 hours of sleep, you guys. This is where it's showing up. So, what are some thoughts on this one? What are some thoughts on this one? If I just stay busy, results will come. If I just work harder, if I just work more. Wow, you guys are silent. I'm like, either everyone's writing a lot or you're silent on this one. It's not hitting. All right. I want to go into some rapid fire questions right now. If you want to answer them, you can, but you can just think about it too. Rapid fire questions. Number 1, where do you feel busy in your business, but you're not actually moving anything forward? What comes to mind? Where do you feel busy in your business, but you're not actually moving anything forward? Write it down. Write it down. Where do you feel busy in your business, but you're not actually moving anything forward? Next question. What task eats up the most time each week but gives you the least return? What task eats up the most time each week but gives you the least return? What's the first thing that comes up from your gut? Next, when you think of hard work, what comes up first? Emotional, mental, or physical effort? And why? Why is that coming up first? What is that for you? Is it something you're avoiding, nervous about, hate, are bored by, overwhelmed by? Next question. What belief about hard work did you inherit that no longer serves you as an entrepreneur? I mean, I definitely inherited working all the time. No play. No play. Just work. But that from both sides of my family. I've had to work at finding play. That was actually something during the pandemic that I committed to do. Scheduling, I used to call it scheduling fun. Now it just happens, but I had to schedule fun. I had to force myself to stop working. That would work all the time. It was just normal. What's a moment in your business where working less actually created a better outcome? What's a moment in your business where working less actually created a better outcome? Maybe you went for progress over perfection and just got something launched and out in the world. Maybe you were at a networking event and you only talked to one or two people instead of spending hours there, but those were the right people for you and you went on to do something incredible together. What's a moment in your business where working less actually created a better outcome? I say this one for people all the time that do things like workshops and stuff, and they want to prepare this whole big giant thing. It's like, nah, just write down 3 questions. Just write down 3 questions and let the people in the workshop deliver the workshop. You don't have to do a whole big giant presentation and like slideshow and all, create all these documents. Just keep it simple. You'll get better results the less that you talk in a workshop. If you could only focus on 3 tasks this month that would move the needle, what would they be? By the way, if you're a part of the Ick-Free Sales Community, um, we have this month is all about wrapping up or tying up loose ends. If you're following those challenges, you're going to be doing a lot of things that are moving the needle this month. Next, where do you notice yourself confusing busy work with progress? I want you to carry this with you for the next month or two. Where am I confusing being busy, working hard, doing lots of work with actually building a brand, building a business, getting sales, moving forward? What's one small action you've been avoiding that could create meaningful momentum if you did it consistently? One small action that you've been avoiding. 2 more questions for you. Which part of your workday drains you the fastest, emotional, mental, or physical, and why? What part of your workday drains you the fastest? And last question. What would intentional effort look like in your business this month? Intentional effort. Intentional effort means being dialed in, tuned in. I am making a choice. I'm not on autopilot. I'm not reacting. I am proacting. Proactively acting. Yeah, we got whoops, hang on. Where'd we go here? There we go. Where we go. We got sales calls. Is that something that you're avoiding or finding exhausting? I'm not sure. Same. We're all work all the time. No play. Yep. Yep. Work, 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 and your problems will work themselves out. Yup. I mean, no, but yup. Yeah, do that too. Schedule fun. Yeah, the mental and emotional. Yeah. Yeah. So, hang on a second. Where's my yeah, here we go. I got some things for us here before we go. Uh, Here, let's do this. Okay, I'm like, what do I want to do? I got a couple QR codes for you if you want. So, if you are like, okay, Lindsay, yep, I'm hearing you. I need a plan. I need to hit 2026 with a plan, with a strategy and a plan. What is my sales strategy? What is my marketing strategy? What am I going to do? You can hit that QR code and you can book yourself an appointment. We won't meet till January. Today's my last day in the office. But you can grab that and let's make a plan for you. We'll spend about 75 minutes and we will sit down and we will go, okay, what do we know? What don't we know? Let's make a plan. Go implement that plan. Stop pushing pencils around on your desk. Stop getting caught up in busy work. You can scan there. You can scan this code to save your seat for January Shop Talk. I'm going to be sharing my five top tips for business growth in 2026. You can scan that QR code and that'll take you to Calendly so you can put the date in your calendar right now. I'll grab all these links and share them too. Hang on, I do have them in my notes. Where's my notes? There we go. Let me grab these two for you guys. YouTube. What? Oh my gosh. Jan's. Oh my gosh. Oh, it's supposed to say Jan's YouTube Live, but that didn't work. There we go. There's the YouTube Live. If you want to book a session for the new year, come book a session here. And then the final QR code here is for Big Bold 2026. If you haven't come to that yet, you can scan the QR code and buy your ticket. This is where we have our ultimate planning day. We spend 4 hours together on a Saturday and we map out your year, all your promotional calendars, all of your projects and things you want to get done. We make work back schedules. It's a big day. This will be our fifth year doing it. And it basically gives you the roadmap that you're going to follow for the year. So go and check that out. Otherwise, friends, this has been fantastic. Hang on, where's our comments? Did I miss any comments? Yay, last day in the office. It is last day in the office. This is my last day in the office. I'm off for the next 3 weeks. I'll be back January 6th, I believe. So come and save your seat for our Shop Talk in January. Come sign up for Big Bold. If you want to do some work together, let's work together. You'll see up there that I also have the code to get my Ick-Free Sales tools. So if you are really struggling to understand how to sell, how to get in front of the right people, what to say when you get in front of them, go grab my Ick-Free Sales tools. I mentioned a whole bunch of YouTube videos for you to go check out today. So go through my YouTube videos. We talked about the 4 steps to ditching self-doubt, the imposter syndrome video, when to quit your job, and also the self-employment versus business owner video. So go watch those. What was that? Oh, hang on. What did you say? Oh, wait, I feel like I missed something. On the Big Bold page, there is a November 7th date. Yeah, that was the first one. So there's November 7th or January 10th. I did 2 this year. Yes, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and Happy New Year, friends. This has been phenomenal. I can't believe it. I think we've done a Shop Talk every single month this year. And I'm freaking so psyched, you guys. This has been so much fun. I am looking forward to an incredible 2026 together. You are all the best. I love our community. Continue to show up, continue to be here, continue to support each other, continue to collaborate. I hope that you all have a phenomenal holiday season. I'm wishing you lots of joy and rest and reflection and fun times and hopefully some good food too. And I will see you all in the new year. You are the best. Big hugs, big kisses. I cannot wait to see what we create together next year. We will say our goodbyes. I have one more meeting after this, and then I'm out of here for 3 whole weeks. Thank you so much, you guys. Love y'all so much. It's been a phenomenal year, And I'm so excited for what we're going to do next year together. Let's friggin' go.